Welcome to CloudTrail and GuardDuty, your 24/7 security watchdog. Automated bots constantly scan the internet for weaknesses. CloudTrail and GuardDuty are essential AWS services that monitor everything happening in your account and alert you to suspicious activity. They provide continuous, affordable security monitoring. Today, we're shifting to a strategic understanding of security. We will cover CloudTrail, the complete audit log for API calls, and GuardDuty, the AI-powered threat detection service. We'll also look at automated response mechanisms and the Security Hub dashboard.
This video is part of a larger curriculum, AWS for Business Builders, designed to take you from zero to cloud ready.
The threat is real and constant. Automated scanners probe the internet continuously, 24/7. Credentials and misconfigured services are common entry points. Speed matters in breach detection, and manual review cannot keep up with automated detection. Chapter 1 focuses on CloudTrail, the complete audit trail. It records every API call, every user action, and every interaction within your AWS account. CloudTrail records every interaction with AWS as an API call, providing a tamper-evident audit log. It records who made the call, what they did, where it came from, when it happened, and whether it succeeded or failed. CloudTrail is always on by default. Event history provides the last 90 days of management events at no charge. For long-term retention or programmatic querying, create a trail and store logs in S3 or CloudTrail Lake. It's important to distinguish between management and data events. Management events, which are free, capture control plane operations like creating resources or modifying policies. Data events, which are paid, capture high-volume operations like S3 object access. For most SMBs, focus on management events and selectively enable data events for high-value resources. When storing CloudTrail logs, you have two options, S3 or CloudTrail Lake. S3 is the best choice for low-cost, long-term archival, typically queried with Athena. CloudTrail Lake is a managed, queryable event store ideal for regular ad hoc security investigations, though it has a higher cost per gigabyte. For most SMBs, start with S3 and Athena. This is an example of a CloudTrail event, capturing an IAM user creating an S3 bucket. Every field provides critical information for incident response. For instance, the source IP address and time of action can immediately flag suspicious activity if the user is out of office. CloudTrail's event history in the AWS console allows you to filter events by username to see a complete timeline of activity. This is essential for auditing and incident response. You can filter by username, resource type, or time range, expand events for full JSON detail, and export results for compliance reporting. Implement these CloudTrail best practices. Create a multi-region trail to cover all AWS regions. Enable log file validation to prove logs haven't been tampered with. Lock down the S3 bucket with a policy to deny log file deletion. Finally, set CloudWatch alarms for key events like root account logins or policy changes. Chapter 2 covers GuardDuty, the AI-powered threat detection service. It automatically turns raw log data into actionable security findings. GuardDuty is a fully managed threat detection service that analyzes CloudTrail, VPC flow logs, and DNS query logs. It uses machine learning and a threat intelligence database. It requires no agents, log pipelines, or security expertise to operate and runs entirely in the AWS backend with zero performance impact. GuardDuty uses 3 data sources. CloudTrail events for anomalous patterns like off-hours access. VPC flow logs for network traffic and malicious IP communication. DNS logs for identifying communication with command and control infrastructure. GuardDuty processes these data sources automatically. GuardDuty detects critical attack categories, including crypto mining from compromised instances, credential exfiltration from unusual IPs, unusual API patterns indicating reconnaissance, and malicious connections to command and control servers. GuardDuty findings are scored from 1 to 10. Understanding this scale helps you prioritize your response. Findings are categorized as low, medium, or high. We'll be focusing on high-severity findings, those with a score of 7 or above, as they require immediate attention. GuardDuty pricing is based on the volume of data it analyzes. For a typical small business, the monthly cost is very manageable, often under $30. Every AWS account receives a full 30-day free trial, showing your estimated monthly cost based on actual usage, so you can make an informed decision. Let's enable GuardDuty. Navigate to GuardDuty in the AWS console and click Enable GuardDuty. Detection begins within minutes. Next, generate sample findings to populate your dashboard with realistic examples for exploration. Then review the finding types, severity levels, and remediation steps. Chapter 3 focuses on automated response. Don't wait for a weekly report. Get notified immediately. We'll use EventBridge and SNS to route high-severity guard duty findings directly to your inbox or a Slack channel for timely action. The alert pipeline works like this. Guard duty publishes a finding to EventBridge. A rule filters for high-severity events and routes them to an SNS topic, which sends an email or triggers a Lambda function. This serverless pipeline costs fractions of a cent per alert. To set up the alert rule, first create an SNS topic called Guard Duty High Severity Alerts and subscribe your email. Next, create an EventBridge rule with the event source as guard duty finding. Add a filter for findings with a severity of 7 or greater and set the target to the SNS topic. The entire setup takes under 10 minutes. This is the exact JSON event pattern to filter guard duty findings with severity 7 or higher. This code ensures only high-severity findings trigger your alert. If you want to include medium-severity alerts, simply change the threshold to greater than or equal to 4. Slack is an ideal way to receive alerts, as it provides a centralized, searchable history for the whole team. To set this up, create a Slack incoming webhook. Then, use a Lambda function to format the guard duty finding and post it to the webhook URL. You can find a pre-built Lambda function in the threat monitoring checklist. Chapter 4 introduces Security Hub, one dashboard to rule them all. It aggregates findings from guard duty, inspector, Macy, and more into a single unified security operations view. Security Hub is AWS's centralized security findings aggregator. It pulls and normalizes findings from multiple services, providing a consolidated security score. It allows for cross-service correlation and prioritizes remediation steps with specific, actionable guidance. Security Hub acts as the nerve center of your AWS security posture. It combines data from various services, including guard duty, config, and inspector, into a single dashboard. This integration eliminates the need to switch between different services during an investigation. Security Hub pricing is based on security checks and finding ingestion events, and the first 10,000 events are free. Most SMBs pay under $10 per month. Enable it after guard duty to combine threat detection with compliance tracking. Review the security score weekly to prioritize your hardening backlog. In a real-world scenario, a compromised key is accidentally committed to GitHub. Guard duty immediately detects the key being used from a foreign IP and flags a high-severity finding. EventBridge routes the alert to your email within seconds. You then revoke the key, and Security Hub updates the finding status to resolve. Without these tools, the scenario is far more expensive. An attacker starts crypto mining, and you only find out days later when the AWS bill arrives, potentially incurring tens of thousands of dollars in charges. Guard duty is insurance against a costly incident. Guard duty uses a structured naming convention for findings. It's important to recognize common high-severity findings, such as instances communicating with Bitcoin mining tools, unauthorized API calls via Tor, or the disabling of CloudTrail logging. These require immediate response. This video's complete security monitoring stack starts with CloudTrail, which feeds into guard duty. Guard duty findings flow into EventBridge for alerting and Security Hub for aggregation. This stack provides enterprise-grade security visibility at small, business-friendly costs. This complete security monitoring stack is highly affordable for a typical small to mid-sized business. With CloudTrail event history being free in guard duty, CloudTrail storage, and Security Hub costing approximately $30 per month combined, it's less than a business lunch. When a high-severity guard duty finding occurs, follow this checklist. First, take immediate actions. Review the finding, identify the affected resource, and check CloudTrail. If it's a compromise, revoke the credentials or isolate the EC2 instance immediately. The key takeaway is that you can have enterprise-grade threat detection without a security operations center. The CloudTrail and Guard Duty duo is an affordable, automated, 24/7 security watchdog. It is always on, automated, and costs around $30 per month. Your action items for today are: create a multi-region CloudTrail trail, enable Guard Duty, and build the EventBridge alert rule for high-severity findings. Then, enable Security Hub to check your compliance score, and download the threat monitoring checklist for detailed steps. The Threat Monitoring Checklist is a one-page guide for SMB technical leads and DevOps engineers. It includes 5 configurations, estimated costs, and ready-to-deploy code snippets, including a Lambda function for Slack notifications to get you set up quickly. In the next episode, we'll cover SOC 2 and HIPAA compliance on AWS. We'll map AWS services to compliance requirements for security, confidentiality, and availability trust service criteria, as well as the technical safeguards for HIPAA without expensive consultants.